plus the Nico have to be working together. And when they had the Annie plus the Nico, they failed almost every engage that they tried to go for as a team.
Hung did not have the best of times on this Nico, and I agree with you. I think these have been the two of the players that have been taking a lot of the scrutiny on this team. So we'll have to see if Top Esports now can try and perform, especially on home turf here against, for some of the players, their former teammates. It would be a massive statement for the LPL to be able to take down the LCK first seed.
Also just a really big statement for Top Esports at this tournament. So far they've beaten G2 and 100 Thieves. And I'm gonna be honest, like G2 day one did not look good. Top Esports looked great. 100 Thieves, although they can challenge, aren't known as the toppest of echelons in the world. And then you look at the rest of the teams that Top Esports need to get through to get to quarterfinals, beating a Gen.G, beating a T1, something like that would really help accelerate them in the minds of the audience, rather than just being a, oh, they snuck through into quarterfinals, they then accelerate themselves into a position of a possible favorite for the tournament.
Especially if you look at the last year and a half, MSI 2024 lost 3-0 to G2 and then immediately lost to T1. Then a first stand, they lose to HLE, they lose to Carmine Corp, they lose to CFO and groups and don't even make it out of the bloody thing. So for Top Esports, they really do want to do themselves justice in China and show what the LPL is capable of.
We see the early swap coming out here from Jackie Love. It's Team WE that first did this year. At least it has been something we've seen throughout the course of League of Legends history, but it actually looks like Jackie Love is now going to path down towards the bot side. And I see Ruler moving up towards mid. I expect that he'll end up just going back down towards the bot, so we'll have the normal lane assignments.
Looks like it, and we'll see if they can get any sort of early brush play here. Hung was so early that he got the ward into second brush on the lane really early on, so we'll see. There's definitely a lot of burst potential in Corki and Nico, and trying to get that advantage over the Braum lane from the level 1 could be big. They do have a sweeper here.
Able to get rid of that vision. Having a double range does really help, and you talked about it a little bit as we got through the draft, Rob. It's a JDG 2023 reunion in the JDG Stadium, a team that was on the Golden Road, and Knight helping carry the team through the MSI 23, but they weren't quite able to cross that finish line and make it to the World's Finals, got knocked out in the semi-finals. 369, Kanavi and Ruler now all meeting back up on the stage where they dominated the LPL 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was incredibly heartbreaking for that JDG roster. Everyone expected them to be able to go the distance. A lot of that was down to incredible team fighting, with guys like 369 being able to provide frontline on picks like the Scion, and Ruler just being a menace in the team fights alongside Knight. But unfortunately, we're not able to do so, and now they find themselves on opposite sides of the rift with Kanavi there as well. It feels like for Top Esports to get one back against their former teammate would be huge.
Yeah, I feel like those players all still have very close bonds. I love listening to interviews where they're talking about coming back to the JDG arena and the emotions that they feel because of it, and all the work that they had put in together. Now, of course, as you say, on opposite sides, and Ruler pushed under tower early on, as expected from the Corki and Nico lane down here, getting priority.
But just really good harassment as well from the Top Esports bot lane, getting the barrier and the heal out of Gen.G early on. Duro on his Braum, 22-7 all time, but early game into a Nico and Corki, you do expect to have to absorb some of this pressure. The question is whether we'll see a punish with Kanavi on the bottom side of the map. I think he is just going to go for the scuttle cap and a little bit of vision. You can see Gen.G think there's a possibility, place a ward in the tri-bush to make sure that they're not susceptible to that gank.
Yeah, just want to make sure that they're able to get some nice little poke damage back as well with Ruler, but Kanavi just wants to get the ward, get the crab, and look for a reset himself. So at the moment, it is going to be relatively quiet in these early stages, and honestly, I think if I'm junglers, I'm eyeing up more towards this mid lane to see exactly what we can achieve, because burnt flash and burnt summoner spells mean a huge amount in this matchup.
Now here's the possible dive. Will materialize. Kanavi comes across, Ruler forced away. Can just be to deny some of these minions as well. Winter's Bite onto Jackie Love. Duro the target. Kanavi going to be looking to try and get the damage down onto Duro. Hung with a great tower aggro juggle on the cannon. And Kanavi and Jackie Love able to pick up that first blood. Ruler forced away at half HP. Can you hear to try and defend, but it's a plate, it's a kill, it's everything Top Esports wanted.
It's one of the best parts about Nico. Rob was talking about it in the previous game. Turn into a cannon, tank that thing up, and it makes dives so easy, even into champions like Braum that people usually think, oh, well, it's Braum, you know, unbreakable, this is going to be super dangerous, but not necessarily true if you can turn into a cannon, and Hong here is able to get the aggro.
I did think with the Braum and even the concussion, or the concussive stacks, that it would just be too difficult, especially with Ruler playing so far back. But Hong, you just tank so many shots, it does not matter. And Duro even burning the flash, hoping that he'd be able to survive long enough, but it is the prowess of that Nico on the dives.
The important thing about that is you might wonder why Nico isn't taking that much damage. If you're a cannon minion, you don't get the ramping damage that a champion would in that case, which allows Hong just to auto-attack and stand there, wiggle side to side on his little cannon minion, and tank the tower for many more shots than he usually would be able to.
Yeah, it's one of the peculiarities with Nico is that you literally count as what you're turning into, and so it even works for like runes that only activate on champions and
Spells
stuff
as well.
Hung going in here, looking for Ruler, who dashes away with the relentless pursuit. Hung flashing forward, though. The barrier coming out. Valkyrie forward from Jackie Love. Concussive blows down onto him. And Jackie Love flashes just in time to survive the Gatling gun coming out. Hung, a couple more auto attacks on him. And Light Slinger out on and Blaze. Gen.G turn it on his head on the bot side. Winner's bite just wide of Jackie Love there from Gen.G, but they even out the scoreboard.
The start was so good for Top Esports. Ruler was set so far behind, but in the 2v2, Ruler gets a kill back and immediately undoes so much of the work Top Esports set up on that bottom side.
Canyon now looking for the dive up towards top side. Can be a little bit risky. Flash in from Keen, bow breaker from Canyon. Not risky at all, it seems. Perfectly juggled by Gen.G.
Dive answered. Topside pressure there is unrelenting. Keen on the Rek'Sai, softens him up, and Canyon comes to finish the job. Keen did flash to start this play out, but honestly, Rek'Sai is so hard to gank already with the tunnel network that she can put down in lane. It makes it very frustrating to go after the champion. Sign ult does hit though.
I mean, Keen's going to get knocked up here. We'll look to try and put another tunnel down. Was trying to play for that plate, and I believe did manage to pick it up before tunneling away. Kanavi, meanwhile, starting up this Drake. Has hit level 6, while Canyon's still only level 5. Needs a couple more minions to get over to that 6 mark, but I think Canyon will realize can't really fight this one. Dragon over to Top Esports.
And not going to be able to mess with this in, and pushing bottom lane as well for TES. The saving grace for the bottom lane for TES there, of course. Jackie didn't die, and they already had the minion advantage from denial under turret. And so Jackie still remains with a lot of extra CS here, and both of them getting the kill credit does mean very, very formidable.
Chovy chunking out Kanavi, who just walks around the corner, tries to avoid the seismic shove, can't do so. Pulled back into the unraveled earth. Duro dives forward and then pops the unbreakable to make sure he doesn't take too much damage in response.
Yeah, I'm curious how much pressure we're going to see from Top Esports in towards the mid lane. Nice job by Cream to manage to escape away from that. But one of the things we saw from AL was a huge amount of focus on moving members to the mid lane and trying to target Chovy. And I thought that might have been kind of the new game plan in the LPL to try and shut down Chovy and in turn try to shut Gen.G. But at the moment, Hong kind of stuck in this bottom side and wanted to try and play through the 2v2 for his strength. Hasn't been able to make it towards mid yet.
Dive in from Kanavi. When the wind becomes lightning, he's going to get knocked up by Keen, who unburrows. There's a big wave here. They could have chunked out Keen. Perhaps they would have been able to force him away with the threat of a dive, but they can't do so. Rek'Sai so good at maintaining her health bar through fights like this. Canyon waiting as the grubs are begun by Top Esports. TP coming in from Duro as well, as he looks to help out his teammates. Canyon and Keen going to walk across here first. Will be a 3v3 as Cream comes across. Kanavi able to pick up the first of the grubs. Canyon diving in, the cease and desist, but a great between worlds from Cream will get him out. Hung coming in with the Strangled Thorns as well. The dive forward with the Void Rush, Crescent Guard out. Keen survives through the tunnel. A great seismic shot finds 2. And just as you think you got him, Gen.G get you right back 2-0. And all of it on that seismic shot from Chovy. Duro flashes. Gen.G somehow all come out alive.
Oh, the skirmish from Gen.G. What? They get out alive. Keen survives. And in the end, they will get both of these grubs. They will get the credit towards the feats.
I cannot believe Gen.G got away with that one. It looked like it was going to be done and dusted with Top Esports repositioning, but it doesn't matter. their Gen.G were able to collapse so well. You see top esports all trying to jump onto Duro, but the second that you end up getting hit by the Winter's Bite, everyone jumps onto Cream, he repositions. But the follow through here, as Keen gets the ult, manages to escape, and there's so much that has been invested into him. The seismic shove sets up perfectly for the follow-up, and this Braum is getting so much value with everyone grouped up.
Yeah, Keen, just the distraction, and lives and allows Chovy to get such a good knock-in. Gen.G come out so far ahead of that. They just explode the gold lead, 2,000 now.
Cream had to flash while we were in that replay, as did Kanavi, it looks like, as both of their flashes are currently on cooldown. Can't quite see exactly what happened there, but we'll see whether it is truly punished. Maybe that Cream flashed a little bit earlier on. I just saw the observers hovering it, so we no longer have the flash for Kanavi and Cream. A 2,000 gold lead for Gen.G, 10 minutes into this game, and it's just the teamfight execution from Gen.G was just sublime there. Everyone knowing exactly what their job was as Keen continues to trade with 369 up towards this top side.
It's one of the things that really added a lot of survivability to Rek'Sai. Honestly, because I was spamming at jungle, I was hoping it wouldn't get too big of a thing and wouldn't get a big spotlight, so everyone starts playing it. But being able to set the W on just a second cooldown upon using your ultimate allows you way more escape angles. And Keen really nicely played that fight, saving it and using it to get out afterwards. Bot side, though,
They didn't spot him.
Well, Canyon did come through. He was on vision as he jumped into that tri-bush for a very short period of time. Glacial Fissure was used and Canyon showed around the corner. Top Esports begin to back away. Do have the Pop Blossom on Hung if they want to try and defend underneath the tower. Canyon looking for that cease and desist. Hung, looming burst, gets a bit of damage. Pop Blossom. Canyon tries to escape, but he's locked up with the Tangle Barbs. Unbreakable from Duro, keeping his jungler alive, but Jackie Love will take down 166 back in as Jackie falls for it. Canyon goes down in the dive. It's a 2-for-1 to Top Esports. The collapse coming in from Kanavi as Rula has flash and barrier to try and get away from this, and should be able to dash out with that relentless pursuit. Chovy looking for a gank up towards the top side, won't materialize for him, and in the end, Top Esports coming out on top in that dive.
Jackie Love, Valkyries forward, and I thought it was going to be a complete disaster with those concussive blow stacks there, but they're just about able to get the kill onto Canyon as well. It's bedlam in this early stage.
yeah, we get a bloodbath and we get a bit of comedy as well in the bottom lane. Honestly, you know, Canyon going in here, but look at Jackie, he deletes the minion wave. So then Canyon gets caught in tower aggro by Hung. Really good heads-up play by Jackie to delete the minion wave, and then Jackie's like, okay, we got a great lockup. And so he goes all in, ends up being 2-for-1 in favor of TES in a fight that was 3v1 in favor of Gen.G, and them being the ones to try and force it.
Top Esports will be happy enough to have got something out of that bot side. While we're in that replay, and Ocean Drake was taken for Gen.G. Gold down from 2K lead for the LCK #1 seed to about 1,000. Still the leads for Top Esports are only in that bottom lane. 600 gold on the AD carry, 700 on your support, whereas the top side of the map, all blue on the bottom of your scoreboard.
And a lot of this, again, has kind of been Canyon having a fantastic game here. He's been a little bit out of it when it came towards some of the matchups against AL. It felt like Tarzan was able to get the better of him in that series, or in that game. But this time around, in this series thus far against Top Esports, he has been everywhere in the early stages. And now they can use this pressure to play around mid, play around Ruler, try and lock down this core key, see if they can play with the Cullings on Lucian. And as long as you can get control over mid, it becomes very easy to have these excursions into the enemy jungle, which is what Gen.G are trying to set up now.
I'm going to retreat away from Duro and Rulo, who are stepping forward. A little bit of vision towards where the blue buff would be. Kanavi will be spotted as he comes around that bend. Held up in a minute and a half. Keen using the fact that he gets the push in that top side to step down and clear out a bit of vision around there. Even just setting up the tunnels for himself for a possible Rift Herald play.
I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm already prepared to give Keen the Rek'Sai pass.
Yes.
He has already earned 3 turret plates on top side.
Kanavi diving in here. Can he have to jump away on something also being used? Keen looking for the Demolish proc. Should be able to get it, but the minion wave actually not in range for him. furiously bites away at that tower, and the 2 grubs enough to get him to play.
Calculated, beautiful stuff. As I said, he gets the Rek'Sai pass. He can play it here at Worlds as well.
Apparently having 2 eyes in the middle of your name rather than 1 allows you to play that Rek'Sai well into the Scion. If you only have 1 in the middle, sometimes you get caught.
Which is hilarious because she's blind.
True. Keen having a really good performance, having a really good year overall. I think a lot of people will always look at Chovy as the main player for Gen.G, but I think Keen and Duro have actually been the most consistent carries for me for this team. Keen especially with his jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife style. You can put him into any role and he really fulfills that without losing the impact that a tank player would have if they were playing a carry top lane. He seems to be able to do everything well.
Yeah, most certainly. And Rek'Sai kind of toes that line as well. Since the build is this bruiser build where you go Titanic into Sojin, you actually have a decent amount of damage. You have a decent amount of backline threat, but still quite tanky and very annoying for opponents to deal with. Even with Hung up here with 369, it doesn't matter. King can go very, very aggressively, keep on pushing, and that tower has been whittled so low by his efforts that it poses a very big threat as far as feats. I mean, Canyon might even just beat him to it if they just get Rift Railed, then they're just going to get it through.
Dive in by Ruler, immediately gets the culling down, but not the concussive blows. Pop Blossom out of Hung, only finds it onto Ruler, and with Redemption coming down, Ruler will be topped up in time. The Rift Herald started by Gen.G while all of this was happening. Ruler merely a distraction in the mid lane as Gen.G wanted that Herald.
And this is exactly how you want to try and use this Lucian, especially alongside the Braum, making sure you can get the concussive blow stacks, get the slow, and then open up with that culling. And now Rift Herald immediately in towards the mid lane. Gen.G are taking no prisoners.
Yeah, honestly, this is a masterclass from Gen.G. Ruler and Duro, they push Jackie out so hard. Wait a second.
Flank. Jumps onto Duro, weirding back with a seismic shove. Between worlds goes Cream and dives onto Duro and flashes, and immediately he's locked up with the concussive blows that re-engage from Gen.G. Perfect as they dive in with the cease and desist. Jackie Love can't survive. The onslaught of Keen and Canyon. A seismic shove buries Top Esports. 369 looks for the flash. An unstoppable onslaught. Cowards, he cries as he runs away from the fight.
Gen.G are speed running TES right now. It is crazy. Ruler and Duro, they pushed out Jackie in the mid lane, and so then Hung using the flash to go for that play onto Ruler afterwards. There was no damage, no follow-up. Then the Nico was left without flash afterwards, and Gen.G just destroyed them in the fight.
Yeah, and then even here, Cream thinks he's about to make his play, but unfortunately, this milk was spoiled as he ends up sending himself straight into the back line to do nothing. Ruler's just there to immediately get the follow-up, and all it does is bait in members like Kanavi, who end up falling down. You've got 369 who's TPing miles away and can't get involved. And Gen.G, I mean, says it all right there.
And it's a different fight if you still have the Pop Blossom. If you haven't had to use that to make sure Ruler doesn't kill off your AD carry, perhaps Top Esports can turn it. But now, 17 minutes in, Gen.G are 5K ahead. This is a demolition from the LCK #1 seeds. Top Esports left reeling, left trying to find a way back into this game, but the windows are rapidly closing on them as Hong goes forward. Pop Blossom onto 3, and perhaps that's it. Hong with a beautiful Pop Blossom. Ruler trying to get away as Hong chases him down, but Ruler escapes with the culling. Cream forced down towards the bottom side of the fight. Kanavi diving in. Wind becomes lightning, but Ruler dodges to the side of it. The redemption not enough. In the end, Kanavi will find his man. But off an incredible Pop Blossom, it's still a 2 for 2.
And the Dragon is still going to Gen.G. They chase down Cream on the back of the fight. And while everyone at Top Esports is looking mid lane, it's Gen.G with their eyes on the prize.
Yeah, we're only 17 minutes into the game, and the objective bounty shutdowns are on the map in favor of TES. You know they are very, very far behind. Now, if they hadn't been able to just finish off Ruler there, then it really would have been egg on their face. But Hung does start it out, gets the 3-person Nico ultimate, even though he didn't have flash or proto belt. And so you think, oh, it's going to be really, really good for TES. Ruler creates a lot of space flashing to the other side, and so you can see Canyon and Keen are able to chase down the Aurora on the other side, and Keen coming up with that double kill.
They just spent so much time trying to chase down Ruler, who barely escaped. They bought everything that Gen.G needed. And it feels like even when you get a miracle engage like that, the fact that Top Esports can't really find the success says a lot about where they are in this game. And now it's going to be the macro play from Gen.G as they set up on this top side, looking at potential vision control and that top lane turret.
Yeah, and they've got some fed solo lanes. Chovy and Keen both with 2,000 plus gold leads. And Dark Seal had been stacking up for Chovy as well, so he's got the extra ability power there. I mean, TES, they're going to have to craft some sort of heavy, like 5-person play out of Fog of War to catch someone off guard.
If you're top esports, you press tab and you're crying. Like Spear, you got the Sundered Sky, the Rylais, the Seraphs, and the Vori Flicker Blades, the Essence Reaver. Like, you are not a very happy bunny when you look at the opposing inventories. And I guess for top esports, the one saving grace is you got a Mountain Drake earlier on. It's not an early soul for Gen.G, but 3 minutes away will be that soul point. Artican up in 20 seconds, and Gen.G just ruling the Rift right now. Dura able to step forward here, not really too afraid of top esports. Ruler will be waiting for his flash to come back up, still about a third of the cooldown on that, so doesn't want to step up too far on his lonesome.
And it's also against Gen.G, who are not exactly a team that is known for throwing games, so it is a little tough when you want to come into this. And again, the early control from Gen.G has been spectacular. Canyon been able to find these great dives, even the turnaround play from Duro and Ruler on that bottom end of the map. It felt like every time top esports were trying to find advantages, it was Gen.G just shutting the door in their face.
And that hurts. Have you ever had a door slammed in your face? Because top esports are looking like it. They want to try and return the favor, but Chovy just walls away and will be safe.
Just weave that wall away to safety. Duro caught out a little bit with the Blooming Burst, but you can see the Nico clone just being used for extra vision here by top esports. Gen.G advancing in 2 lanes at the same time. Top and bot, their current targets. Keen stealing away jungle camps whenever he can, just to make Kanavi ever so slight bit weaker. Try and get rid of all the standing gold that top esports could find for themselves. Duro TP's back in. You can see Gen.G's current investment is vision towards this top side. They're going to use Ruler to push out mid, and then he can move up and join up with the rest of the team, which makes sense because there's an Artican here. It's the only neutral objective up for the next 2 minutes of the game. Is all of top esports back, and won't be an immediate start. Oh, it will, in fact, from Gen.G as Ruler makes his way up through the river.
Gen.G just know they're way stronger on these 2 autumn spikes, and top esports now have to try and retake, but this Artican is long gone, and Gen.G again just continue to add to this lead.
Look at Duro. He just stands, he's like, hey, you want to get anywhere near? You have to walk through me, and through me is also through a seismic shove as Gen.G look for the engage. Keen with a perfect bang. The Pop Blossom's only going to find the jungler. It's not enough. Crescent Guard from Kanavi won't keep him alive through the damage that is Ruler. The dash back from Cream. Oh, it's a shellacking. It's a demolition. I'm not even sure we're allowed to show this on your screens. Gen.G with a 5-0 ace at 22 minutes.
Yeah, I think we just witnessed the murder. That is Gen.G absolutely crushing top esports with a clean ace, losing no one, face tanking towers in the aftermath.
The fact that they're still able to tank towers just says how poorly that one has gone. Gen.G, like, they split up these fights so incredibly well. Jackie Love caught on the bottom side of this wall, and then on the top they're putting pressure into Cream as well, and a huge amount of that is thanks to this dive duo of Keen and Canyon. They immediately take separate targets, and 369 just isn't able to pick a side that he wants to try and fight on. You cannot be losing, if your top side losing. Jackie Love is diving for safety and is saying, please, for the love of God, save me. But there is no savior here on top esports.
Top esports trying to run, but nowhere on Summoner's Rift is safe for them. Even their own base will quickly become Gen.G territory.
And with that fight, Canyon moves into 6th place all time in international assists, 1,145. And for a player coming into this tournament that I think a lot of people saw as the weakest link of Gen.G, who was having a struggle of a time during the summer split, this game, and it is only one game, is really showing just how impactful he can be and how well Gen.G can play when he gets his lanes ahead, because that's exactly what he's done here. He'll secure the 3rd Drake for them, as well as 369 tries to defend under this tower. The Science tanky, and he'll be able to survive through any damage Gen.G put into him right now, but he's not really able to keep the tower topped up for too long with another wave coming in.
And we are witnessing why so many people have Gen.G as such heavy favorites, you know, coming into this tournament. An absolutely star-studded lineup here, and we're even going to see them continue.
Pop Blossom only going to hit onto Duro. Not able to chase any further as Canyon jumps across the wall with the Bolt Breaker. Duro, Redemption coming down on Supple Onslaught. Won't be enough damage. Duro survives! Duro survives again. You just can't kill him. As Kanavi's caught out by Keen. He's going to pop the Crescent Guard to try and survive, but is guarding nada. Jackie Love and Cream feel the full power of the culling. Chovy's flashing the damn wall, for goodness sake, as Gen.G once again ace top esports and will push down mid.
They're going to potentially end the game, and Baron hasn't even spawned yet. It's 30 seconds, and Gen.G, they're just eyeing up the Nexus.
Rated R for mature, this game was anything but kind from Gen.G. 21 kills to 5. Duro, he dies to a tower as Hung tries to do something to defend, but Gen.G, sub 25 minutes, dismantle top esports.
The Nexus Tower at the end doing what top esports couldn't and actually killing Duro there. Gen.G making quick work of it. They have
Try and set yourself up for this answer, but instead, they're just going to try and fight fire with fire here.
Yeah, and I kind of like taking away the Rumble as well, because it does look dangerous if Equalizer comes over the top of the dive with a Jarvan Cataclysm. The hot pot would be spicy, and Aurelia would be very, very spicy, so I don't think we're going to get it. And you get the common answer into the Rumble, the Ornn.
You were so hopeful there for a second, but the Aurelia was never going to be locked in. Ornn gives you that long-range engage that you need, also gives you a tank for later on. Let's see if Gen.G are able to close the game out as quickly as they were in game one here, with a dive with a little bit of extra front-to-back damage here, with the Ornn being that front line, whereas top esports have great dive, really good damage, no true tank. The Leona obviously can be a little bit tanky.
And like, not great peel either. That was kind of the other thing that I was looking at. It like, the Emperor's Divide can do some work, but against an Ornn long-range engage, the Jarvan follow-up, Yone, Rakan, it is going to be relatively difficult to actually keep this Azir and Yunara alive. And I think that's where, for Gen.G, you're going to be fairly happy with great late-game scaling, great options when it comes towards side lanes. Honestly, I just prefer Gen.G, what Gen.G have brought to the table.
Honestly, I do agree. I feel like they're going to have some priority, a lot of early options for the Jarvan to go to, try and put some early pressure. Azir is even weaker early now than in previous iterations, so maybe they can put extra pressure onto Cream. And if you get Chovy, Yone ahead, then that is a key to victory in itself.
28-6 on an all-time Chovy. I mean, the thing is, you can pick any champion in the roster of League of Legends. Chovy probably has a pretty positive win rate on it, but his Yone is exceptional across the board. Gonna jump on into game two here between Top Esports and Gen.G with a quarterfinals berth on the line. Top Esports will just be looking to survive past the 25-minute mark. The crowd very much at the backs of their LPL representatives, and they need all the support they can get after being demolished in game one.
Pretty standard stuff here for Chovy on the Yone. As the cheers go up, nobody going for any tricky level ones, although we may see an attempt for the Raptor ward.
Looks like Top Esports going to be able to work their way in here to get it down. We'll spot out the Canyon is there. And you could hear the Gyos, how loud they were there in the back, just trying to get as much behind Top Esports as they can. And Top Esports, like, this was the team that a lot of people in summer expected to win the LPL. They looked absolutely spectacular, but playoffs really fell apart for them. And it's now on Top Esports to see if they can rally themselves in this series to push Gen.G towards that game 3.
Look at this, they're sticking around a long time. Okay, so Chovy does get visual confirmation. They know that Hung and Jackie are gonna be coming over delayed. They will be able to bully their way in. And everybody with a calm start.
Yeah. Although Top Esports are the third seed coming out of the LPL, I have to remember that they did get into the finals, played up against BLG, and then lost out in the regional gauntlet, the qualifiers. And AL taking that spot. IG coming back in fourth, and I think a lot of people will look at just LPL teams in general and think, oh, they love to fight. And game one, there was a lot of fighting on the Rift. But Top Esports generally through the summer split were much more of the cerebral team. They're much more macro-orientated, kind of very similar to some of the best LCK teams. And Hung did look for an engage there, couldn't quite find it, and Jackie Love and Hung will get the push here with that cultivation of spirit, getting the extra Runans, kind of pseudo-Runans on the minion wave.
Yeah, it was much more about their objective setup, and you got to see a glimpse of that in the last game where Hung got that big Nico ultimate, and that was kind of more what Top Esports were incredibly strong at, was finding these team fights with guys like 369 who were exceptional on these tank plays, finding space, creating moments for Cream and Jackie Love, but unfortunately they just haven't quite been able to find that success as the later summer has gone on, and now are moving over into towards Worlds as well.
Yeah, and Gen.G, a different beast, like outplaying them in the Grubs fight. You know, being able to have Keen survive, get the big seismic shove onto 2 and build on this early lead. When Gen.G showed us, they know what to do with that early lead, very methodical. So TES gonna change their fortunes here in game number 2 for sure.
Methodical is such an interesting word, because whenever you talk about it in like League of Legends terms, I always feel slow. It's like, oh, they will slowly do it. They'll wait for the next Drake. They'll take the next Drake. They'll take things off the map. Gen.G are methodically rapid. Like, the things just accelerate away from you so quickly as Canyon is looking to start putting his foot on that gas pedal. The jump in, the heal out. Jackie Love has to flash. Couldn't risk the flag drag flash from Canyon catching him out.
Great pathing from Canyon though, using the flag and drag over the wall to avoid the ward and get around everything. But now the answer potentially for Kanavi with Chovy playing nowhere near Kanavi's access point.
Yeah, smart stuff from Chovy, hugging the side of the river that his jungler is on, really giving that respect to the Pantheon. A flash stun, point and click, is pretty hard to outplay even for Yone.
Hung able to catch the Zenith Blade Shield of Daybreak combination onto Jiro, but the Gleaming Quill pops him back to about 80% HP. 369 with the push in the top lane, as to be expected in the Rumble into Ornn matchup. The Flame Spitter does a lot of work for you there in the early game.
It's still getting a nice little CS lead for himself, because you can see that like the wave is starting to push back out away from Keen, and there's still about a 7 CS lead. So in the grand scheme of things, 369 going to see if he can try and get some revenge for what was the last game, and he has been an exceptional Rumble, 25-9 over the course of his career. This guy has popped off across JDG, Top Esports, so many different iterations of the rosters he's been on this pick. And maybe, just maybe, he can actually turn that Cataclysm back around to be a bit of hell on earth for Gen.G.
See how effective he can be. Early game relatively calm between these two teams. Chovy TPing back in with double daggers and a longsword. Trading onto Cream here, who steps forward knowing that Soul Unbound will pop Chovy back to reality, and Chovy down to 250 HP.
Yeah, Cream straight up getting the better of Chovy in a lot of these skirmishes we're seeing, making Chovy miss a lot of these cues. Cream, confident positioning and movement from him.
Kanavi looking for the steal. Canyon does get it with the smite's gonna be forced away here. Chovy low. Kanavi, spear shots. Won't get it as the Soul Unbound pops Chovy underneath the tower and away, but he's losing minions to this turret and plates with Hung coming in to assist. Top Esports should be able to deny quite a lot of CS away from Chovy.
Yeah, double pots popped on the refillable to make sure that Chovy can survive this alongside the help from the Doran shield, but Kanavi, he wants one more. Flash over the wall is available.
And he's going the other way. Comet Spear. Ooh, just short of Kanavi. Tickles his toes as Chovy jumping in there onto Cream. Canyon looking for it as well. And they get first blood! What was that, Chovy?
Chovy plays on the edge, and he wins!
How does he get away with this? How in the name of God is that where he manages to make it work? Dodging the Kanavi spears, will have to potentially dodge one more here, and getting the kill alongside Canyon. Gen.G just looked like it can do no wrong.
You got to feel for Cream. I mean, Cream had been doing a lot of work to set this up, but in the end, the scoreboard is what matters. Chovy makes it happen with Canyon wrapping around. Kanavi's spear as well going in the dirt right at Chovy's feet. You could hear the crowd's reaction as the Comet Spear came up short.
Cream does manage to come out and grab the wave, holding it just outside of the tower range, but we'll have another look at this, because you can see just short of Chovy, and then Cream jumps in thinking he can take the fight, and Chovy, it's 100 HP, it's sub 100 HP, just enough to find the kill. Gets the shield as well from the
coaching
Spirit
staff
Cleave.
is in awe.
Yeah, they're like, wow, I love having these players on my team. This is great. These guys are insane.
It's just so tight, and it's those sorts of things that win Gen.G games. It's the fact that not only are they one of the best macro teams in the world, probably the best macro team in the world, but they also have mechanically some of the best players in the world. And even if Chovy hasn't been as good as he was last year, he is still exceptional.
But I think it's also like shout out to Canyon, because this guy has been more of a like, hey, I'm going to be selfish and farm for myself. But now that the meta has started to shift over in towards more of these proactive junglers in the early stages, like the Vi's, the Jarvins, less so kind of the Wukong, he's actually been incredibly active in the early stages in this series and has been at the core of fundamentally why Gen.G are winning this series.
Yeah, 100%. That was necessary cover from him. Chovy had been backed into a corner. You know, Cream had been whittling him down. And so it was necessary for Canyon, you know, to stick around the lane and play around the lane there. And Gen.G kind of bailed themselves out with that one.
And you could see how much pressure Top Esports wanted to put on that mid lane as well. Hung coming across, Kanavi spending so long around it, trying to shut down Chovy, which is something that has worked for teams in the past. If you can put Chovy behind, a few years ago, would have just gone into a side lane and farmed up for the rest of the game and then slowly try to get himself back into the game.
But it's what anyone's legend did against Gen.G that got through the win, was focus on Chovy, put him behind, then use that to start looking for invades and be able to take over the game with the Kiana. But instead, in this game, that focus on mid ends up backfiring, and now it's Top Esports that are struggling to make things happen.
Keen has the call of the Forge God and a flash. Gonna call in the train to try and clear out the wave. Puts it down the Fissure as well as Hung flashes forward. Good Bellows breath, but the Solar Flare there for the follow-up. And there's the kill for Top Esports on the board here in Game 2.
Yeah, way to keep focused, Top Esports. They remain calm. You know, they focus on the next minion wave. They go for the dive here. A couple of minions still left alive. That is enough to still pull off the dive and make their cross-map play. Because they know, all right, Gen.G are going to go for the dragon. We will just go for the kill.
And especially when you still have things like the Yunar and the Azir, your scaling is fantastic. Unless Jackie Love loses half his health bar to Chovy immediately in a fight, that's less good.
Yeah, not the best there for Jackie Love, but he has the support of his jungler to make sure that he can just clear out the wave and then back away. Chovy actually pulling this one to the side means that a few minions will be lost before that wave starts pushing back in Top Esports' favor. We have the exchange of a kill in the top side for a dragon for Gen.G. They also managed to pick up 2 of the 3 grubs, so there are 2 objectives towards that feat of objective slaying. And have a kill apiece. Top Esports with a very, very slight gold lead in this early game.
Really excited for when we actually do get these dive plays from Gen.G as well. And we're on support roam timers at the moment. You saw this kind of leisurely pass through mid from Duro. There's just so much vision from TES setting up their swap for the duo lane to come mid and continue applying that pressure towards Chovy, towards this Yone, really trying to hinder the income of this champion is critical. The longer you can put off the breakpoint of the Blade of the Ruin King for Yone, the better you are off in the game overall, because even the single item power spike on that champion completely changes everything.
It's Berserker Greaves, a Vamp Scepter, and a recurve bow at the moment for Chovy. Unable to quite complete that Blade of the Ruin King, but really that item unleashes him on this Yone. Duro looking for a flank position here onto Cream, who his flash is about to come back off cooldown. There it is, so no dive really going to happen here for Gen.G. Just want to make sure that Chovy can push in the wave against the range damage that comes out from Cream.
Still, Canyon putting pressure on towards his top side, letting Keen just kind of sit here with the a nice little freeze for himself. And although there has been pressure from 369 or towards 369 to get this lead, you can see like is Gen.G still kind of just getting to dictate what's happening.
I think 369 will be happy enough just to equalize that. You've still got 3 minutes before a Herald and a Drake, right? And he's 600 gold ahead, so just equalize the wave, get it crashing as quickly as possible, and you can back off knowing that Canyon was on this side of the map. Your jungler currently pathing out through his own red side. And much slower game, much more patient game from both these teams. Kind of to be expected. Like, everyone wants items in this game. Kai'Sa wants at least a couple. Yone wants at least that Blade of the Ruin King. Probably a couple behind it. Azir the same. Jackie Love the same. So everyone willing just to not force the tempo too much in this early game.
Still getting the flank onto Chovy here.
Zenith Blade comes down. Uses the Soul Unbound to dodge the Solar Flare. And oh, it's actually the Mortal Steel 3 that didn't even have to unbind his soul as Kanavi chased out by Duro and Canyon. And yeah, that's the problem. You know, it's a Yone. We he fell out of meta for a bit, but this guy's still the slipperiest snake in Summoner's Rift.
But it's also like Duro and Canyon matching this play a lot, because even if you don't get the kill onto Chovy there, what you can do is use that to establish a ton of vision for this dragon that's in 2 minutes time and try and find more picks or play off that. But Gen.G are just defending well as top esports are going for these, and it means that we are probably going to rely on these team fights once again, where Gen.G were able to find their success in the last game.
Yeah, and credit to Chovy, keeping his charged up Q, knowing, all right, I'm going to need this for an escape. He has still been able to collect his CS.
Fate sealed out from Chovy. Ultimate for ultimate exchange. That was really nice. That was really nice from both players. You can see Cream has to go for it at some point with the backup from Hung, and you have to make them have it. You know, it's like playing poker. You can't just fold as soon as they raise the stakes. You have to make them have it. And that's what Cream did there. Ultimate for ultimate exchange. His actually slightly shorter cooldown than Chovy's.
And then Chovy did have it.
Yep, he did.
So he is able to lay it down and get out. Still not quite enough for his Blade of the Ruined King, but still going to be able to come back, refill his potion, and head on out to the side lane. Still has his flash for the extra safety as well.
Yeah, there's still a huge amount of pressure coming down towards this bottom side, with Duro again trying to match Hung, making sure that Chovy can continue to clear these waves, gets that Blade of the Ruined King, but went a bit far, and we'll just back away. And again, I think it's now just reset to 50 seconds to Dragon is going to be the next port of call here. First items completed across the board on top esports side, and it's just a question of, has Chovy gotten enough for that first item himself?
Has he got that Blade of the Ruined King yet? Kanik Rooken complete on Keen. No Leandries yet for 369, but as he goes back there, it populates into the scoreboard, so we'll finish that Leandries just in time. Has the equalizer, has the teleport, as does Keen. So if we do see a fight around this Drake in 20 seconds time, both the top laners can come down and join the party. Chovy still doesn't have his own teleport and staying around for a while here. Cream stepping forward, Chovy forced down to half HP. Grand Skyfall used as well from Kanavi, but Chovy respects it well.
Interesting. With the Dragon coming up in just 1 second here, is going to give TS early movement into the river. They actually double up their control wards. Not the biggest of deal.
Savage played onto Duro. Shield of Daybreak there for the follow-up. Just a tickle of damage from those soldiers trying to get through Duro, who's gone Mikhail's first on this Rakan.
It looks like top esports are trying to play off the timer of Chovy's TP coming back up. They know that he should have enough for that Blade of the Ruined King, so as long as they can take the fights and start them before that reset comes through, they should be fine. But they're a little late on starting up this Dragon because they want that Scuttle Crab, and that's bought the time now for the Blade of the Ruined King to be completed, and Gen.G confident to step forward.
Double TP as well. Keen is actually coming down towards this ward at the same time. Top esports respect it, back away. 369 does have the push, and it's only a second Drake for Gen.G. Top esports could decide not to try and take this Barney, not to try and take this Frey. Trying to control that mid lane at the moment. 369 now teleporting towards the river. The Drake down to 3,000 HP. Kanavi jumping forward onto Keen. The Drake's still the target for Canyon and Chovy. Call to the Forge Guard as they dive back in. The double knockup. Canyon's already killed off Hung as Kanavi falls down to half HP. Duro with a good quickness. They dive back onto Kanavi. Fate sealed. Kanavi clapped by Chovy. Meanwhile, the dive onto the backline from Ruler, a killer instinct, and an instinct to kill here for Gen.G. Cream trying to escape as the soldier down to try and take out Ruler, but he just doesn't have the range. Gen.G once again find a mid-game fight and absolutely delete top esports.
Gen.G are just too good. That was an insane team fight there. Choosing the moment to go right back in. Ruler, Kaisa ulting into the back line. Here's a look at how it all started.
It's Chovy coming in with the knock-up that enables Keen with the follow-up. That is perfect for Gen.G. And Ruler this entire time is getting to free hit on 2 key carries in the back line. And here is where it gets incredible from Gen.G. Canyon gives his life, but it opens the gap for Ruler to go forward and flashes on Gen.G to support the Rady carry to make sure he can escape with a sliver of HP as Cream falls before the LCK first seeds.
A 5-for-1 for Gen.G. In that position? Now 3.3k ahead, 17 minutes in. Look at the damage that Ruler dished out. 4.2k in that last fight. And for Top Esports, it's not for lack of trying. They played the team fight pretty well. It's just Gen.G with that bouncy castle at the start. We're able to find Hung, and we're able to find those first couple of kills.
This team is just a beauty to watch fight there, and Gen.G just like that. They have the hold on the game once again. I mean, you can get your consolation prize of the Rift Herald. TS will go back out and try and burn this one down. They should be able to do so. But with just that fight, Gen.G have just completely taken control.
And I love the way Ruler played that fight in particular. Like, so often at Worlds, we've seen Kai'Sa's shoot themselves into the back line and shoot themselves in the foot because the Yunara immediately opens fire and is just able to duel the Kai'Sa in that back line. But Ruler found his moment to get on towards Jackie Love and enable the fight onto Cream, and now 369's in trouble.
369 has no flash here. Call to the Foreshot, not going to come back with the Fate Seal. Goes on to 369. Flame Spitter, not enough to kill off Keen. Kanavi coming in. Duro there for a little bit of shielding. Solar Flare, Chovy, Mikhail's immediately. Duro with a double charm. Keen trying to escape with the spear. Will pierce his heart as he goes down, and now Chovy being collapsed on. Chovy doesn't have the flash, no Fate Sealed for him either. Will be very difficult to buffer out of Cream if he goes in for that Emperor's Divide. The wave on its way, 369 trying to shepherd it in. Chovy, the target, exhausts down, Soul Unbound comes out, but Chovy under the tower survives for as long as he can, but Top Esports put him 6 feet under. Meanwhile, Gen.G pushed through the mid-wave to get a tier 1, to look for a tier 2. Rift Herald charging towards this top side will be an exchange of tier 2 towers.
Good punish from TES there. You know, Keen not able to make it happen at the beginning. TS immediately close the trap here. That's what you have to be ready to do. If any sort of error does show up, immediately go and punish it.
And the fact that you have that Pantheon is huge, but Keen, yeah, just doesn't quite get the second pass on the ore, and it means that immediately the turnaround is available. Kanavi with that ultimate can cover the top. Duro, heroics here to try and save Keen, but the collapse from Top Esports is just too quick and too strong. But an overextension, honestly, try and make this play happen, especially waiting for the wave, does mean that you get the tier 2 in the mid for Gen.G, and it's kind of this injection of gold for Cream off of the towers, answered for an injection of gold onto Ruler.
It's a 2k gold swing for Top Esports. They're still 1.5k in the hole, but 369 now 1.2k ahead. Bloodletter's Curse and the Leandry's complete as Hung steps up in this top lane. Cream's on his way. Juro's going to clear out this vision. He has Canyon there. And will be spotted as he walks around the corner onto that ward. Gromp just their first target. Grand Starfall not available for Kanavi. He's currently in the mid lane, and Gen.G decide to back away.
Yeah, a little bit risky. Not every member accounted for. You can see coming out of base, Yunara as well as the Pantheon. And TES, after that play, it's got to build your confidence back up a little bit, you know? Getting at least some opening and seeing that Gen.G are mortal.
369, look at the flank here onto Chovy. Cream going in first. 369 with the Flame Spitter. Fate Seal comes out. Chovy able to dodge away with the Q3. Quickness coming out. The Zenith blade eaten by Juro. Chovy with another shield able to survive, and now the Mikhail's going to heal him up, and he's taken out by Kanavi. Meanwhile, Hung and 369 are now in the middle of Gen.G. Chovy survived for so long that Gen.G collapsed, and Top Esports collapsed around them.
Jackie Love couldn't get to the fight, but Gen.G en masse show up in the top lane and put them in the dirt.
TES, they go after Chovy, but the Avengers assemble quickly. Chovy buys some time. He ults and then he Qs away from the Azir ultimate that did not knock him back. He then ease over and dodges so much. He stays alive for a long time. Duro again trying to keep him up, and by that time, Ruler and the rest of the Avengers have arrived to finish the job.
The speed, the rapidity of the response there from Gen.G. They called an ambulance, and it was Top Esports that they put in the body bags. Now again a 4k lead for Gen.G. A moment ago I was saying it's a 2k swing. It swung back, and Soul Point for Gen.G has been begun.
Soul Point for Gen.G, Atacam for Gen.G, gold leads for Gen.G. It feels inevitable this series for Gen.G.
Joe is just waiting, just out of range of the Zenith blade, dashes back as Chovy snaps back to the river. There's Soul Point. 5 minutes away as Kanavi dives in. The Solar Flare hits Ruler, but immediately he cleanses it away, and Kanavi doesn't really have the backup. Cannon down towards the bottom side. Kanavi going back in, but Keen will put him 6 feet under. Good damage from Jackie Love, though. Gets one in response. Keen still looking for damage onto Cream. Keen jumps in with that knockup. Chovy, the fate sealed, and Emperor divides him. Ruler gets another duo with a knockup. Ruler trying to escape 369, but he's put on a spit, and he's well done. 369 and Top Esports fighting back.
They get some extra gold and they open up the map as well. There are objective bounties still up too if they can stick around.
Duro and Chovy, look for the quickness combo here. They turn onto 369 who's overheated. Duro almost escapes, but Cream puts the soldiers down. Chovy just able to survive. 100 HP on him. Jackie Love doesn't have the tools to close that gap. In the end, a 1-for-1.
Barely able to escape away from that one. Top Esports, though, finding a crucial fight, and we'll get to see it in this engagement as they set up for it after the Dragon.
Okay, so we've got two sides here. Kanavi goes in on Duro at the top side, and they have the equalizer to try and support his damage. But on the bottom side of it, Canyon has to flash out after Gen.G go for the engage on the other half, and Jackie is free hitting here. So him and Cream are able to take out the first member. Canyon is down. The re-engage from Keen, though, only knocks up Jackie, and then tries to go, Chovy tries to go over Cream's ultimate, and they get rebuffed.
Perfect timing on the Emperor's Divide there to keep Jackie safe, to keep Cream safe. And now, Top Esports, that gold lead starting to whittle more and more away, but that looming Dragon Soul in 3 minutes' time has to be playing on their mind.
For Top Esports, every fight is a knife edge. It is so close, and every time Gen.G just managing to escape with that little bit more. The last couple of fights, they're going in their favor. Only 2k gold the lead now for Gen.G. Chovy, though, 2k ahead himself, has that QSS. Makes it so hard to lock him down in these frays.
And he's got the first Ornn upgrade from Keen as well. And the Mikhails that you talked about earlier, so QSS and Mikhails to allow this Yone to continue to carry from melee range. Level 15 now achieved for him on top of it.
Third item for Ruler as well is such an important pickup on the Kaisa. Makes this a little bit more terrifying if he's able to find his access that he wants to into the back line. But it feels like so much of this again is on Cream and Jackie Love. Can they stand and fight? And it's what we were talking about from draft. It's these two carries are absolutely absurd in these late game fights, but when the fights are so spread out and there's so much threat, it's on the outplays to happen from Cream and Jackie Love in these fights.
Got 2 minutes on the Drake. We've got 10 seconds on the Baron. Gen.G just tried to deny a little bit of vision around this. Duro with the Oracles will sweep out one of the wards. We'll see if he spots the second. Not in the pit, doesn't see it, but can step forward towards that blue side jungle just a little bit. Cream was pushing out bot, but he's actually going to go and join up with his team in the mid lane. 369, the one assigned to deal with Chovy, which is not the easiest state of affairs. Zenithblade follows Duro across here. Hung not an easy avenue to retreat from it. Chovy was looking for that collapse, but he does get out. Ooh, Ruler almost connecting there, but everyone from Top Esports able to spread wide enough to avoid that missile.
Yeah, good bit of damage there from Jackie Love. Put a dent into Ruler, or into Duro at the very least. Chunking out the Rakan can be an opening.
Do need to be a little careful with how spread out Top Esports are, especially with Keen now in the area. One call of the Forge God onto someone who's left without a flash could be devastating. And Cream and Jackie Love are prime targets for the next couple of minutes. But with 50 seconds until that Dragon Soul, it doesn't look like Top Esports have got that time to buy.
Just going to push through this mid-wave. Lord Dominic's finish for Jackie Love means he'll get through Keen a little bit easier, who's gone for that Frozen Heart. Wondering if perhaps it would be a Randuin's, but with the waves pushing in bot and top lane, Top Esports kind of have to reset to deal with them at some point, and Gen.G have really good vision control around this Baron. Juro's going to step up, TP comes out, Kanavi looking to see if they can catch the Rakan, but it's not the easiest to do, and you can see Gen.G already on the Baron right now. Kanavi, you're just going to Grand Starfall in, you have no vision right now. Juro there to act as a bodyguard, and Gen.G back away from it. Farsight alteration was used in the pit. The vision once again denied by the control ward just sitting outside of it. Kanavi dashes in onto Keen, not really the target that you want. Meanwhile, the Solar Flare dives in onto Juro, who gets the quickness off, but is only onto Leona. Hung already down, the corner of the Forge God coming out as well as Gen.G get one and immediately back away.
It's everything onto Duro, but Duro is so slippery, he backs away. And now Gen.G continue to play back towards this Baron, teasing Top Esports.
Bait seal from Chovy doesn't connect, but Canyon does! Jackie Love is sent packing the Cataclysm onto Cream. He dives in but dies for it. 369 trying to flash away. Cannon can still flag and jag and chase this one down. Once again, try as you might, you just can't beat them. Gen.G are the best in the world right now.
They're just cool, calm, and collected there. Gen.G, you can tell, they're just waiting for the Yunar ultimate to drop off. As soon as it does, they pull the trigger, they re-engage onto Jackie, and instantly delete him.
But it's even the angles that they're attacking here. It's Chovy coming in from one angle to force Jackie into reach of Canyon, and Ruler to follow up. There was no hesitation. There was no chance for Top Esports. Gen.G refused to be denied playoffs.
369 dying right at the last moment. The Baron goes over to Gen.G. There's a Mountain Drake for them, and it will be Soul. And you wonder for Top Esports, if you do lose this Soul, how are you going to get through this Ornn? You do have two good DPSs. You've got an Azir, you've got a Yanaro, but that Azir sitting at 2 items right now as Kanavi jumps in. Once again, Duro the target, but he's durable and he'll just battle dance his way away. The Solar Flare doesn't find its mark. As now the Court of the Forge God comes out from Keen and he's praying to Chovy that Church may be in session. Chovy unable to find the engage off towards the side, but again, Summon has used the equalizer down, doesn't really connect onto anyone, does separate Keen from the rest of Gen.G. Redemption coming out, Keen should be able to get into it, not quite. Jackie Love has transcended himself as Chovy dashes back, 1 kill. Cream goes forward as they look for Ruler, but Ruler with a killer instinct dives behind Cream. Jackie Love diving in and Chovy going the other way once again. Gen.G clean up the fight and Top Esports are left rattled.
Ruler has been hit with better Azir ults than that one. But this time around, he will not be stopped as Gen.G march towards the base.
Gen.G are going to make quick work of Top Esports.
The first game was sub 25 minutes, the second one likely to be sub 30. I think a lot of people will wonder, could this series have just been an email? Gen.G take their rightful spot in the final 8.
Okay, they're looking pretty scary. Gen.G coming in, tournament favorites. An absolutely statement series here from them, destroying Top.
It's just their team fighting. Every single time, it's so impressive. It's the coordination in those split-second moments. It's one mind activating through 10 hands and slapping back every team in the world.
Superlative.